The iPod Nano revolutionised music with its 8GB of storage, tiny form factor, and the ability to have whichever colour you want because there was around 6 to choose from. The iPod Touch grew on this success by increasing the storage and also making it a touchscreen device, which was great with all the additions to the Play Store, meaning you could play games and also have a lot of music on you at the same time. The iPhone 4 changed the way that we look at smartphone displays. Literally. It had a retina screen, which basically meant that the pixel density was so good that you couldn't really decipher individual pixels. The internals were also really great, and it had one of the best smartphone cameras for the time. This is only my opinion, but I know some people will definitely agree. The iPhone 5S was probably the best looking device that we've ever had. It had some really nice corners to it, a nice chamfered edge, and also the actual phone itself was a powerhouse with the great new processor from Apple. The LG Google Nexus 5 made us rethink smartphones. The price was really budget, but the actual internals could rival that of flagships at the time, like the Samsung Galaxy S5 and HTC One. But the best thing about the Nexus 5 was that it runs stock Android, and it basically changed the game in terms of software, especially with the newest update to Lollipop. And then we have smartwatches, more specifically the LG G Watch. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my full review on this brand new technology to see if wearables really is the future, and to see if the LG G Watch is actually any good. So, let's take a look. First off is the watch band, which I'm not necessarily a fan of. It's made of a rubber material which is good at preventing sweat and things like that, but just in general I'm not a huge fan. Now the great thing about the G Watch is it uses a standard 22mm band, which means that if you've got any other watches hanging around, or if you do want to get a different watch strap, then you've got the ability to do so. As you can see here, the more matte texture on the rubber band does wear off on certain areas of the watch, which is definitely a disappointment as it's not necessarily the best in terms of build quality. The actual watch body itself though does hold up a bit better. You've got a nice metal back here with all of the information about the actual watch itself, and you've also got some screws in each of the corners. Now it doesn't necessarily mean that the battery is removable, but if you have any issues with the casing, it does look as though some bits are going to be replaceable. Easily my favourite thing about the design of the G Watch is the really nice stainless steel band that goes all around the screen. Now in between the metal back and the stainless steel band it is plastic, but overall it fits in really well and just looks really nice. Now it does attract a lot of fingerprints and can look a bit grubby sometimes, so you will have to keep it a little bit clean, but once it is all nice and shiny, as you can see here, it does look really nice, which means it's going to go with a variety of outfits. If you're going out and you need to wear a suit, or if you're going to the gym, it's going to look good in quite a lot of different environments. It also has a really nice screen. Now it's not the highest in terms of pixel density. It comes in at 280 by 280 in terms of the resolution, and it's 1.65 inches. Now it is an LCD panel, so viewing outdoors it isn't necessarily the best, but under some lighting, as you can see here, I've got some really bright lights on it, and the actual watch itself is quite easy to read. Now you do have to maybe angle it slightly differently if you are in direct sunlight, but overall I've not really had that many issues. Inside the watch itself, it features a 1.2 GHz Snapdragon 400 CPU with 4GB of storage and 512MB of RAM. Now what this means is navigating the watch is actually a breeze. I've not had any issues with stutter or slowdown, and just in general it feels as though you're using maybe a smartphone from say a year ago, or something like a Moto G where the processor isn't necessarily the best, but it still does a really great job. But overall, in terms of the design and also the software and the hardware, it's a great looking device. Like I say, you can use it in a variety of different environments, whether you're going out for dinner or you're going to the gym. It's going to be good in a lot of different places. The only thing maybe that I would say is it is a little bit thicker than a normal watch that I'm used to, as it comes in just under the thickness of the Nexus 5. Now it's not necessarily a problem, but if you are looking to put it, for instance, underneath a shirt, for instance, you may have some issues, but overall it does look extremely nice on the wrist, as you can see here, and just in general it's quite lightweight as well, which means you're not really going to notice it all that much. But the reason why it's designed the way it is because it is actually IP67 certified, which means it's really good at protecting against water and dust, so you can, if you need, have a shower, but just don't take it swimming. Now the next portion of the video will basically be the same for all Android Wear devices, as they're all going to be running Android Wear. So whether you've got the Moto 360 or the LG G Watch like I have here, the actual software itself is going to be virtually identical. Now I've got a setting on my watch at the moment that when I bring it up to my wrist, the screen will actually brighten up so you can see what the time is, just like this basically. And this is actually a custom watch face that I made using an application for Android, which I'm going to be doing a separate video on at a later date. Now if you want to change the watch face, all you need to do is tap and hold on the display, and it's then going to bring it into the different watch faces. Now this can differ depending on which device you have, but overall a lot of them look exactly the same. You've got digital and analog watch faces, but like I say, I'm actually using one that I've custom made with an application. And it's a very simple one here, as you can see. It's just got the time in analog format, and that's pretty much it. Now if you swipe down from the top, this is where you're going to get into your settings. Now what you can initially see is the battery percentage and the date, so it's the 5th of March, and I've got around 93%, and it will then disappear. If you tap on the screen, it's going to change the notification priorities to not show any, priority only, and also then show all, which is what I have it on pretty much all of the time. If you swipe across, you've then got cinema mode, and if you turn this on, what it's going to then do is dim the screen, and it won't brighten up if you get any notifications, and you actually need to double tap on the screen for it to then brighten up when you actually do get a notification come through. You've then got the option for the sunlight mode, and basically all this does is put it to maximum brightness, which I personally have mine on all the time, as the battery life isn't all that bad, but I'll get onto that in just a moment. In terms of the settings, they are quite simple. You've got brightness, Bluetooth devices, always on screen, aeroplane mode, restart the device, reset, and things like that. And again, change watch faces, which like I say, I find a little bit easier to do from the actual watch face itself. You've then got the about section, and in here it's going to give you some information, including the version of Android Wear that you've got, which on my LG G watch is 5.0.2, which is the latest version of Android Wear. Now the best way to think about Android Wear is basically Google Now but on your wrist. You can see here that you've got a very nice card format, and again you can dismiss the cards by swiping to the right hand side. So if you swipe this one away here, the notification will disappear, but if you think you've made a mistake, you can go back to it and click on the undo icon, which then bring that notification back. Now this is a quite new feature with the newer version of Android Wear, so it's a great way that if you do accidentally get rid of a notification that you want to keep, you've got the option to go back and get it if you are quick enough. Now some notifications are also actionable, so you can actually interact with the notification itself, and as you can see here, if I go straight down to the bottom, this is the weather within my area, and I can swipe across to the left to get more information. I can also swipe across to the left again to actually access a button which basically will open weather.com on my device which the watch is paired to. So again, this is a great feature so that if you are looking at something on your watch and you want to get a better view of it, then you can do so on the actual phone itself. So if you get a notification for a text message or an email, you can look at it briefly on your device, or you can open it on the actual phone itself. Now some notifications allow you to actually tap on the screen to get a bit more information. So this one here is a severe weather warning, which is actually just a demo card, but again you can see here that it cuts off the information unless you tap on it, and then you can see more of the information regarding the actual card itself, and you can then tap again to make it smaller. So again, some of the cards are actually actionable, you can actually get a bit more information from them, but a lot of the cards are static. So you can see here that I've got a birthday card here, and swiping either way isn't really going to do anything. If I swipe it away to the right, then it is obviously going to just dismiss that notification. So it does take some getting used to with what you can or can't action. So again, we've got a flight card here for a departure time. If you swipe across to the left hand side, it's got a QR code so you can actually check in. And again, if you swipe across, it's got a bit more information regarding the actual flight itself. So again, these ones here are just demo cards, and your cards on your Android Wear device will differ depending on what you use it most for. For me, the most things that show up is the weather, traffic notifications, and just in general navigation, and also any notifications I get from text messages or emails, and just in general any social notifications. So Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram all show up on my actual wrist, which is definitely a great feature as it allows me to see a brief glance of what someone's trying to say without having to get my phone out of my pocket. But overall, getting notifications on your wrist is definitely a neat feature. Now, I thought that the interaction between the phone and the watch may have a slight delay, but it really doesn't. If I get a vibration from my phone, it goes to the wrist pretty much straight away. So you're not going to be looking at your phone where you get a notification and then have to wait a long time for it to go to the watch. It's pretty much instantaneously. And that's one of the features that I like, is just the continuity and the consistency of notifications coming through. So overall, I would definitely recommend Android Wear. Now keep in mind, this is basically the first generation of Android Wear. Wear, as obviously this particular watch, the LG G Watch, was one of the first Android Wear devices to come out, so there are some bugs and it does slow down and stutter occasionally, but overall I've not really had that many problems with the software itself, and I've only had to actually reset the device once because of some problems with it connecting to my phone via Bluetooth. But apart from that, I love Android Wear. I can't wait for the next evolution of Android Wear, and just in general the next evolution of smartwatches. Obviously the second generation, third generation, it's only going to get better, and it's definitely a technology that I'm going to be getting behind 100%. Lastly, about the watch is the battery life. Now the battery life itself isn't really too bad. It's got a really easy charger and you can just put it onto the charger whenever you need it to. The actual battery itself is only 400 milliamp hours, which means it charges from 0 to 100% in around an hour or so. So if you need it just before you're going out, this is a great solution, although it does only work one way, so keep that in mind when you are putting it on the charge. But overall I get a solid day of usage, maybe even 2 days depending on my usage and notifications, which for an Android Wear device or just in general a smartwatch actually is pretty standard at this moment in time. So to summarise, Android Wear is definitely a great software platform. One thing that I would say is there is definitely room for improvement, and hopefully that will come with the next generation of the software, or indeed the next generation of watches. Now in terms of the LG G Watch specifically, it is definitely a great smartwatch and one that I can highly recommend. At the moment it's pretty much one of the cheapest smartwatches on the market, so if you're not really 100% sure whether a smartwatch or just in general anything like this is your cup of tea, then it's a great way to kind of dip your toe into the water to see if it's something that you want to get behind. For me though, being into technology, I really enjoy the fact that I can get all of this information on my wrist, including notifications straight away, and that's kind of the main thing about a smartwatch. It's a way that you can get notifications and interact with your phone without having to get your device out of your pocket. Now, does it actually solve the problem of people looking at their phones too much? Well, not necessarily, because you're just going to be looking at your wrist for the same amount of time. But, in my opinion, it is definitely the future of tech, and something that I'm really looking forward to with the next generation of smartwatches hopefully coming very soon. And that's going to do it for my full in-depth review of the LG G Watch and Android Wear. Now this video is a bit longer than my normal video length, so if you've made it to this point, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, and in general if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button down below. If you guys have got any questions about Android Wear or the LG G Watch specifically, then again put them in the comments section or hit us up on Twitter at Copper vs Glass. Don't forget to get some more great content, hit the subscribe button. I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass. Thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.